Hi, sixth graders. So, today we are again doing a very big leap of time and we're going into the 20th century. We're going to talk about a different kind of revolt. So, we're jumping from the Great Revolt that happened in in the year 70, right after during the destruction of the temple, to the 20th century. So, almost 2,000 years later. We're talking about the uprising in the Warsaw Ghetto during the Holocaust, World War II. And you might have heard about it. There's a lot to read and a lot to tell about it. And we're not going to do a whole history class. But I think it's much closer to us, both in time, because it's just a little bit over 70 years since this happened. And it's much more fresh in our memory, and maybe it has to do with us, with our families, with people we know. Maybe we've seen movies and we've seen pictures of those events. And it's a hard story. We're not going to get into all the details. You're going to read an article that tells you the story of the uprising, and you're going to read the letter of Mordechai Anilevich, who was the commander of that uprising, and see what he thought and what he felt at that time. But I also want you to have in mind is, even though this is a much more modern story, and the stories we dealt with before were ancient stories, and maybe they're not as close to us, and it's harder for us to imagine ourselves in that place, I do want you to think about this as kind of the same situations when people of our nation, when Jewish people find themselves in very extreme situations. What should be their choice? What should they do? Should they rebel? Should they object? Why yes and why no? And what are the outcomes of it? Not only in human life, but in many other aspects. Those are the big questions that we are asking. So I hope you learn a lot from today's lesson, and I'll see you on Friday when we talk about those issues. Bye.